Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at QNT. Before we jump into the price action, just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff now. Basically what we're looking for here, I'm still looking for that possibility to come down to below this point here, looking for that possibility of coming down towards this 68.2 at a 1-to-1 of this A wave here. However, there is obviously always potential that this could fall short. So some interesting zones that are showing some confluence here is this green box area. So this green box area is basically a fib retracement zone of this entire move to the upside. And we do have some confluence between the 0.618 here, which would be this yellow 95.6 and the 50% of this box area, as well as the zone lower down here between the 618 and this 0.854 area, the 77.6 zone. So this could be an interesting area if we do actually look to break down here deeper. What I am looking for is that potential that we could see another leg to the downside here. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this move. And effectively what we'd be looking for is either this is an A, a B, and a C to the downside, which is my primary expectation. Otherwise, we could look at this as a W, potentially this is an X, and then we're going to see a Y to the downside. If we see that play out, what we could see is something like this, where we actually look for this teal ABC move here, where we could actually see this starting to fall off if we get a rejection off this box. So we've actually come into this 50%, which is the low end of this at this 132. And what I want to see now is whether we actually manage to find support here and then look to push up. We need to get back above this 150 area for more confidence that this move to the downside is completed. There is a bullish count where we look at this as a 1, 2, a 1, potentially as a 2, and then we look to push up. So we're going to discuss that as well within this video. Basically, what we need to see here is if we can manage to get back above these, back above this resistance zone. This 150.1 is going to be a key area. Once we start to break above this 786, it becomes less likely that we are going to look to continue down here, and then potentially we could have another leg to the upside. So we got a few ways we can look at that as well. So we're going to discuss that within the video. So the alternative way of looking at this move would be more bearish, where potentially we could look at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 as an expanding diagonal. That's actually completed here. We could be looking to form a B wave here, and then actually we look to break down deeper. If that's the case, then potentially we could be looking lower down to this box area and potentially even retesting this channel line here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this and see exactly how these waves play out. If we do get a bigger move to the downside, we need to be cautious because we could see either a move down towards this 1-to-1, or if it extends down lower, potentially towards this $58 range. But we need to bear in mind this more bearish alternative that we've been tracking previously still hasn't invalidated itself, where this could be potentially a 1-2. Now, with this looking like a diagonal, we could potentially have a 1-2 again, and then basically we could actually look to have a bigger retracement here. So that what the 5-wave structure, if we did get a rejection of the 618, which would be up here at this 139.3, potentially this would actually look for a third wave target towards the 6801, 68.1, and then we could potentially be looking at something like this play out. So if we do actually move up here in a 3-wave move and then break down in a bigger 5-wave structure that moves past the 68.1, potentially we could be setting up for this move where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So if we just had to complete towards this 63.7 to this 57.4, that would potentially just satisfy that idea of this as an A, a B, and a C wave to the downside, and that could be a completed correction. However, if we do look to actually extend out deeper and we look to move deeper towards this $43 area, potentially what we'd have to be cautious of would be 3-wave structure to the upside. If we form a 3-wave move up, potentially we could find an additional 4th and a 5th to the downside, which could actually look to push us down rather deeper towards this 36.6 to this 29.7. So we've been talking about this potential for a while. This would be a 0.786 of the A wave and a 0.5 at 854 of the A wave lower down here at this $30 range. So just keep an eye on this zone. If we do actually look to break down deeper, that could actually indicate we are starting to move deeper down here. But we'd have to hit that impulsive target first towards this $43 to be looking at that as a confirmation. So talking about that potential of the upside here, we were also talking about this where we could look at this potentially as a 1-2-1-2, and then potentially that we're actually starting to look to break to the upside here. So for the most part, we can count this in a few ways currently. I'm looking at this basically as the potential of a diagonal here, but it could also just be an ABC, X, a, B, and C as a WXY. So we'll have to see here. If we break down one more time, alternatively, what we could then argue is that potentially within this, um, it would be a strange one because you'd have to look at this. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't really work as a diagonal otherwise. I was going to say you could look at this as a 1, 2, 3, potentially a fourth and a fifth. We'll have to keep an eye on it. If we get a three-wave move down here, which is longer than this move, then potentially we can look at that. But otherwise, I don't think it's really worth entertaining it at the moment. If we do look to break up at this point, though, once again, the structure is not really great to the upside either. It's, it's very choppy in this area. What we'd have to look at is that potentially this move was a diagonal. And what I would be looking for would be the potential that actually within this, we'd be looking for something like this, where I do think that potentially this move to the upside is a corrective structure as a W, an X, and a Y. There is potential we could be forming another X wave here and we push up one more time. If that is the case, potentially a target would be towards this zone here of this 135. So that would be basically coming up and sort of retesting these highs again. If that's the case, potentially we could then look to complete as a W, X, Y, X, and a Z here. Or alternatively, we could be starting to or starting a drop down here where this potentially could become a 1-2 or 1-2, and then we start to break down deeper in a five-wave structure where this becomes an A wave, this is a B, and then potentially we move down towards this 118.7 area. So this is what I'm looking out for. If we do start to break down deeper here, potentially we could have a 1-2, we come back for a 1 and a 2, fail to take these highs again, and then start to break down deeper here, looking for five-wave structure. So the idea here is looking for support to come back in towards this zone of this 119 to this 111 area. Losing this low of this 106 would invalidate any bullish sort of count off of the back of this. And then basically we'd be actually looking for that potential to continue down from here. So if we're talking bullish scenarios here, what we want to see is a bigger five-wave move to play out. If we do see this play out as an A, B, and a C, potentially from here we'd want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 up into this zone of this $174 range. If we only form a move which rather comes in towards this zone here of this 150 area. Potentially then we could just see this play out as an ABC pattern, and then that could just be a connector wave where this becomes an A, this becomes a B, and then we actually look to drop down deeper, like I said, in that bearish option where we're looking for that potential to find resistance in this zone. So that would actually bring us up to the 0.786 at this $150 range. So keep an eye on that. If we do actually look to push up towards this area, we could actually face that rejection and then look to push down lower for that C wave. If we do push up higher here, potentially would change that one-to-one target area and could actually bring it rather towards this zone of this 95.6 because there is a bit of confluence there. If we had to move up towards that zone of that 786, we can see here that they would actually bring that one-to-one right up into that same sort of zone. So keep an eye on that. If we do actually move up to there, there is quite a few confluence areas down there now. But basically, otherwise, we could be just looking for a shallower move up here, and then we could look for that rejection. So we have come up to that 50%. We're going to have to see what happens from here because the problem within this move is it does look quite corrective. Like I said, we can count this potentially as a diagonal here, where we look at this into this high here as a wave 1 or an A. looking for a B and then either a C wave towards this 150, or if it does develop bigger towards this 174 region. Obviously, there's always the potential, that maybe this doesn't make sense at the moment because we could be getting something like this is a 1-2, this is a 1-2, this is another 1-2 here, and then it starts to move up. The key zone, we'd have to hold these lows though, for that possibility of this 119.4, and then we'd have to start to see some impulsive moves playing out here. We wouldn't really want to drop if we're looking for that bullish aspect. We wouldn't really want to drop below this 122.5 area again. Otherwise, it's likely that we're already coming back down in the C wave towards this 118.7 range, and then we could be looking for that push to the upside. So we're gonna have to see how we play out here. If we start to lose this 115 zone though, 111 area, it becomes more likely that we could actually see this start to progress back to the downside here. And then what we'd be looking for would be potentially this target here, this $89 range, or potentially this low, the least that I'd want to see here really is this $105 at this 0.618, which would actually tie in with coming back and retesting these lows from further back here. So keep an eye on that. If we do push lower, basically what I'll be looking for is somewhere in this range here for that support to come in. There is still that confluence here on that 95.6, so that'll be an interesting area. Now, that would be a retest of some of the structure within this area. And then, lower down, we'd have that 1-to-1 down here at the 68.2, and the other 1-to-1 of this bigger of the smaller wave rather, would be here at the 73.9. So keep an eye on these areas. That would also be right in that golden pocket. There's quite a bit of confluence between some fib zones in there. So yeah, if this does look to extend deeper here, potentially that could be a zone we actually look to retest. So before we end the video, I just want to talk about it. So there is a few ways that we can look at this. We could be looking just as a three-wave move to the upside here. Still, that's on the table. But within this, I am also monitoring this. It's not my primary account, but it's something that I'm sort of keeping an eye out for here, looking at the possibility that we could actually have a triangle within this zone. So what I'm looking out for here is how this price reacts. So we already talked about that 0.618 area of that 139.3 here. That's of this move to the downside. So what I'm looking out for is if we just have a three-wave move up into this zone, potentially we could actually start to see a triangle form. So I've just drawn it off these wicks here. It doesn't technically need to include this one at all. It could be something to the effect that actually we're forming a bigger triangle here where we're going to use this top channel line as the end wave for the C. So if we start to form something like this, and then, maybe we've come down one more time for that B wave that we talked about, and then we push up, but we don't actually form a bigger impulsive structure and we just form a three-wave move here, then potentially that could mean that our C wave would end up in that position. So I've drawn this tighter here just because of this 141 to this 139 here, which is a 0.618 to a 0.605 of this move here. However, there is also the potential that if we measure this rather as this wave here, that 618 area would be higher up here towards this 150 zone. So if we do form this as an A, a B, and a C, and we push up towards this 150 zone, potentially this could then be our C wave. We could then look for that three-wave move, which that 618 would be down towards this 121 area, and then basically looking at this as another three-wave move up, looking potentially towards this 139 area again. And then this could mean that actually this whole internal move here is a triangle, and then what we'd be looking for is this is an A, this is a B, and then looking to break down as a C. So if we just remain the range bound here, and we fail to actually break back above this 165, and we fail to break below this 106, potentially this is something that could play out here. It could be in the smaller scale, like I said here, potentially we see this as a ABC. We fail to break down below this zone here of this 117 area, 0.3, and then we actually form an E wave up here, a smaller structure where this is just a smaller triangle forming between a tight spread here on these channel line, or on these diagonals rather. looking for this to actually form a smaller triangle in this zone. So keep an eye on that. If we just remain range bound here, it is one possibility that we could be playing out within a triangle, in which case my primary expectation would be down. But if we did have to be looking at something like this, if we start to break up, and once we form the C wave, if we break back above it, then that invalidates this structure. If we break above this A wave before then, that invalidates it, or below this B wave here. So we need to be cautious on this. We could still see that possibility where we actually break to the upside or we break to the downside here. This hasn't confirmed. We only get confirmation when we form this D wave. So yeah, it's just something I'm looking out for. So I thought it was interesting and I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. If you found it useful, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. As well as that, there are affiliate links for PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you don't have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care out there.